Before I began practicing yoga, I often suffered from extreme anxiety, which actually, when I was a teenager, was told was exercise-induced asthma. I even carried around an inhaler for years and years and years. It took me up until my mid-20s, I think it was a trip to the emergency room, Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, where I went in absolutely certain that I was having a heart attack. They bring me right in, connect me to the machines, and after doing some routine diagnostic testing, the doctor comes in and says, you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And they sent me home with a little bottle of pills, which I dutifully took for years. In delving into my yoga practice, one of the very first and most important differences that separates something that separates yoga from any other type of movement or exercise is just the connection with your breath. So for me, it's easy to remember to take deep breaths and breathe deeply when I'm moving and when I'm, in the middle of a rigorous yoga practice. What's far more difficult and for me, so much more beneficial is remembering to use my breath in everyday life. So just remembering to slow down. And as many times as I can throughout the course of the day, to just stand up nice and tall and breathe all the way in. Because breathing is an autonomous function, it happens naturally, it's something that we tend to forget about. But once you remember and start to bring those little remembrances into something that is so routine, it can be, and truly was for me, life-changing. So again, find a ritual to sync this up with. Find something that you do or multiple things that you do every day naturally, and then use those moments as opportunities to remind yourself to take a deep breath. So for me, every time I step into my car, before I start it, before I put my hands on the wheel, I just take one deep breath. Every time I'm about to brush my teeth, it's a remembrance and a reminder to just slow down. When I sit down to a meal, some people might pray. I take a deep breath and find gratitude for the food. These little things, these little differences, find ways to insert them and incorporate them, and ideally they'll become habits that can change your life for the better. For me, learning to take a nice deep full breath and more importantly, learning to incorporate that into my everyday life in little routine ways that can eventually hopefully become habits has been not only helpful and transformative, but has allowed me to overcome anxiety, eventually wean myself off of anxiety medication, and just find a more optimal way of living and being. So again, I'd urge you, just stand up tall. Remind yourself as many times as it takes each day. Just stand up straight and take one deep breath. It can change your life.